Well. How are you doing? How are you doing today? I think the sound is pretty good, I think. If there are any issues, then let me know, of course, but I think we should be live. I can also see myself, so that's pretty good. I can hear myself, or I can't hear myself, but I see the volume bars going up and down, so I hope we're live. Let me know if there are any issues. If not, then awesome. Then I welcome you. Who do we have in here today? Who do I have the pleasure to be talking with today? We're going to talk about a few things. What's up, Marco? Marco Hernandez. What's up? Where are you from? Where are you from? Log into chat. I can't chat here. What the hell? Okay. You're from Spain or Latin America? I need to use my Spanish more. USA kick your ass first. Almost. Marco beat you to it. Sorry, USA kick your ass. What's up? Ooh, that's an interesting name. Singing. Interesting. This is why I'm always pulling gains. Wait, what? What are you talking about, man? Pulling gains? Well, you didn't even come first, bro. Good try, though. Good try. What's up, UO? How you're doing today, man? Some Finland in the house. Always good to have. Today, I just went for I went to the supermarket and it was freezing. Like, oh, it wasn't literally freezing, but it was like 5 degrees, and I felt like I was in Finland with like minus 15 degrees. So freaking crazy. All right, let's get started, shall we? I just want to talk about a few things first before we actually get started with well, whatever questions you want to ask me. If you do have any questions, let me know. USA kick your ass is getting angry because he was not first. From Norway, by the way. Okay, so we have some Finland, so we have some Norway. Welcome. I'll get into those specific questions a little bit later on. First, we're going to just talk a little bit about a few things that I want to talk about first, okay? Early worms, yeah, well, if you're in the USA, I mean, you probably, well, how late is it there? It probably depends if you're on the West Coast or the East Coast, I suppose, but the more west you go, the more earlier a worm you are, I suppose, if that even makes sense. Anyways, okay, so what I do every week is I send this, like, blog, if you will. I got this on my website, nesami.com. You can check out the blog. And this is a blog that I've written today. I was talking a little bit about SPACs and crypto because I do kind of think that there are opportunities right now, not only in the SPAC market, but also in crypto. Let's first talk a little bit about SPACs, okay? I'll try to keep this a little bit short so you can ask as many questions as you like. But I think because we have seen the sell-off of the SPAC market, and one way to look at how the SPAC market is doing in its entirety is to maybe look at an ETF like SPAK. That is difficult. This is like a SPAC ETF, if you will. And it basically perfectly depicts how we have been trending over the last couple of months since about like October 2020. Of course, we had a beautiful run up towards the upside to the moon until February, basically the end of February. And then we had a massive move to the downside, and now we are consolidating a little bit. So I kind of think that there are many SPACs that have a chart that looks like this, and many SPACs are very close to the net asset value right now of $10 per share. I personally have a few swing trades myself, like FRX, merging with the Beachbody, GIK merging with Lightning eMotor, GNPK, which I'm going to talk about in a second, and merging with Redwire, and TSIA merging with Latch. And these are all relatively close to the net asset value of $10 per share, of course. And I kind of think that this is actually a nice room. This gives you some nice room for opportunities, because I do think when these SPACs are very close to that net asset value of $10 per share, there could be some hidden opportunities, because it's very easy for people to say, okay, the SPAC market has sold off a lot, so now the entire SPAC market is dead, right? But I do think there are definitely some valuable companies out there, like GNPK, for example, merging with Redwire. Maybe check that out. I'm not sure if we're going to talk about that a lot today, but you can maybe check it out. It has a relatively low enterprise value, or a low pro forma market cap of like 650 to 700 million. And I think they are already pulling in like 140 or even 160 million dollars in revenue annually this year. So I do think it is an opportunity, and it's also a space company. So yeah, that's with the ARCX ETF, it could be interesting, of course, to play a company like this one. So I do think there are definitely opportunities out there. I do think FRX, for example, could be considered to be an opportunity too. I do think that, well, TSIA is way more risky, I would say. I definitely think that FRX and GMPK are pretty relatively safe plays, I would say. Relatively safe plays. That doesn't mean, of course, that you should go all in, and that this is, of course, not considered to be a financial advice, but I do think that the risk-reward ratio is quite interesting right now, as Warren Buffett says, be greedy when others are fearful, because I do think that a lot of people are fearful right now in this current SPAC market. So yeah, maybe check out if you have some nice opportunities lying in front of your eyes. So I also think that in crypto you could have an opportunity, potentially. I'm not sure what's going to happen exactly this week, but we are going to see the Coinbase IPO, I believe on Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not entirely sure, but I think it was on Wednesday. And well, right now we don't really know how high the market cap is going to be. I was just looking at this article with a very psychedelic picture over here of the CEO of Coinbase. But yeah, some analysts say that the market cap should be close to $19 billion. And some others say that it should be closer to 160 to even $230 billion. And I believe they were talking about going live at like $100 billion more or less. But you know how this goes. It's like this can go up a lot just pre-market. And personally, I'm not even able to buy pre-market. So yeah, I do think that if it is lower than like 100 billion, maybe it's an opportunity here as well. But I do think it's very interesting to look at. Also keep in mind that the Coinbase event could attract a little bit of attention to the entire crypto market, which could of course be good for the crypto market itself, just like for Bitcoin, Ethereum, the major altcoins, of course. Chainlink, I believe, right now is also on the Grayscale Trust, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, it could definitely attract some attention to the crypto market, and especially, of course, to Coinbase on Wednesday, if that's the day they are going to go live. So that's an opportunity potentially as well for you to look at this week. I do think so. What else do I want to talk about? Talked about that. I've talked about that. Yeah, that's not. Yeah, well, maybe if you want to learn a little bit more about crypto or about blockchain in general, there's this free MIT course that I did. Actually, I just finished it a few days ago. It has 24 lectures of 1 hour and like 10 or 20 minutes per lecture. And this lecture is done by Gary Gensler. Now, Gary Gensler is going to be very likely the chairman of the SEC this year. And I think that, well, Gary Gensler he's definitely not a minimalist. He's definitely not a maximalist when it comes to cryptocurrencies. But I do think he's going to lead to some regulation of the crypto market. I personally believe that's a good thing, because that is going to lead to more mainstream adoption, in my personal opinion. But yeah, it is definitely something to look at, especially if you're interested in crypto. If you're interested in blockchain, then this course, it's entirely for free. It's all the way up there on MIT. You can just go, you can just find it yourself, of course, or just go to my blog and check it out. What else? Yeah, a little bit more in the context of be greedy when others are fearful is potentially EHang. I made a video about this last Friday. And this, of course, has sold off quite a bit as well. Actually, it looks very much like the SPAC ETF we just have been looking at. And yeah, it just had a massive run to the upside. Then it crashed because of the short seller report. And now it is it appears to have a very nice support around this level of like $32. So this could be considered to be an opportunity right now as well. Again, be greedy when others are fearful. A lot of people are fearful. But I do think that the risk-reward ratio for EHang is relatively nice. But yeah, of course, that again is not financial advice. Maybe check out my video that I did last Friday about EHang and maybe do some additional research to see if you're into a company like this. And then the last thing I'll talk about is my technical analysis course. So usually during the live streams, and also right now during the last couple of weeks, I've been focusing a little bit more on technical analysis, during the videos. I do like 2 technical analysis videos per week right now, and I'm going to be releasing a very like. It's going to be a course for absolute beginners who are interested a little bit in the technical analysis. So if you want to learn more about technical analysis, well, in about 2 to 3 weeks, I'm going to launch this program for, like, as I said, absolute beginners. In a few hours, I'm just going to teach you the basics of that. So if you're interested in that, maybe check out, maybe sign up for this, like, what do you call it, newsletter? I don't even know what to call it. But if you drop your email here, if you go to nesami.com/TA, if you drop your email here, then I'm going to keep you up to date with regards to the course. And I'm also very potentially, give you a nice little present when it's actually launched. Okay, so we talked about that. We talked about this, so we can click that away. We can probably click this away too. And yeah, let's stop shilling myself and let's start talking to you. What about that? Going to take a sip of my water, and then I'm going to go through your questions, because I'm just going to focus today on what you want to ask me. And if you don't have anything to ask me, then I would like to check out a little bit of technical analysis myself. Meanwhile, the chain link is going, having a nice day today. That's pretty good. All right, let's go. Where were we? Bryce TV says, hey bro, what's up bro? How are you doing bro? What do you think about SRNGU? I think I've looked at that like last week potentially. Soaring Eagle, what is soaring on Friday? Does this already have a target, is my question. Because if there are only units outstanding for now, then I kind of suppose that they don't have a target just yet, is my very... what do you call this? Opinion. Of course, I don't think I can. This is so annoying, man. I was always using. Can SRNG? Look at that. Yeah, but I can't see. No, okay. I see C filings. Come on, man. I want to see that. Latest activity. Can I find it here? No. Well, let me know if it's going to merge with. Well, actually, let's just Google it, shall we? SRNG, SPAC, well, that. Because I don't think SPAC Hero, is this a new one? Is that a new one? Is this the target? Ginko Bioworks? Potentially. SPAC listing. Seeking target. Let me know if it has a target, Bryce. Did you already say if it has a target? No, I don't think so. Let's see. Oh, there's interesting. He's got an interesting comment from a you know nothing, but do we want to talk about that right now? I'll first go through the other questions. Actually, let's just talk about this. So you know nothing says, Nesami acts like he knows a lot about crypto, but in reality he is an amateur. Nesami, stop scamming naive people. Okay, that's interesting. Why do you think I'm an amateur? And why do you think I'm an expert? I don't think I'm an expert, and I kind of think that I say that in basically all my videos, that I'm definitely not a financial expert. I just share the knowledge that I have learned myself about SPACs, about crypto. Sorry for that. Sorry. About stocks, about technical analysis, and yeah, basically anything else. 95% of the predictions Nesami has made are false. I suppose you're referring to the SPAC valuation videos. And that is probably, well, you probably don't really understand how I do my valuation videos, but that's fine, I can understand that. So my SPAC valuation videos are purely based on the investor presentations. And these are definitely not my opinions. I mentioned that in all my videos, and I noticed that I put that in the description as well. Let's actually go there to make you look at that. So they're only based on the investor presentations, and I always say at the end of my video that you have to take into account that everything is an assumption, that we are taking a look at assumptions, that everyone should be looking at its own valuations and not copy my numbers as is. But I can imagine that you don't listen to that. That's fine. Let's see. Where are we? Backed undervalued, for example. Hope I'm not going to Yeah, let's stop that. Don't want to listen to myself. Don't really want to look at myself either. Let's see. So if you go to the description, then I always say this. Keep in mind that the video is just based on numbers from the investor presentation. I do sometimes need to make a subjective decision with regards to the multiples that I use, but please change these if you believe these should be lower or should be higher. So all the analyses are purely based on the investor presentations, the numbers that they use over there, the revenue numbers, the EBITDA numbers, the multiples they use. If there are not any multiples that I can use, then I do need to make a subjective decision to come up with my own range of multiples. But of course, if you believe that range of multiples should be higher or lower, then that's up to you. And what I do is, if you go to my Discord, you can join my Discord for free. If you go to nesami.com/Discord, then if you're into the Discord, you can go to SPACs. And again, this is all for free. You can go to pinned messages. Then you're going to find the sheet that I use to calculate my SPAC valuations. And then you can plug in your own numbers to come up with your own, well, predictions, if you will. The word is, that's the word that you have been using, Mr. You Know Nothing. So I hope that clears up a few things, because these are definitely not meant to be predictions. I'm not saying that Bakkt is going to, let's take a look what I said here. Yeah, so I'm not saying in 2021, we are definitely going to go to $20.50 per share, so you should definitely buy it right now. That's not what I'm saying, okay? I'm just saying that based on the investor presentation, these are the numbers, and then people can make up their own decisions, make up their own mind, and then hopefully use that information in a good way, okay? What's the reason you use an alias and not your government name? You can have my name. That's no problem. My name is Wiebe. I can't even chat in here. That's annoying. Can I? Well, do I have my full name on here? Let's see. Well, let's see. So my first name is Wiebe. W-I-E-B-E. My last name is, well, it's not in here, but I'll just write it to you. Let's see, where are you? Where are you, little screen? Say something. Hello, my name is Wiebe Kuhorn. Oh my god. So, basically, my reason for using a different name is that my own name is not very common, not very general, I would say. And, yeah, that's one of the main reasons. It's not a very useful or not a very common name. It's very difficult for people to remember. So I wanted something that was very easy to use, that was very brief, that was easy to use and easy to remember as well, and something international. Because my name, if I go to Spain, none of the people over there can actually pronounce my name. So that is the reason why I came up with a different name to use that on my social media, on YouTube as well. And yeah, I hope that makes sense. I'm not going to explain how I came up with the name, because that probably doesn't really make sense a lot in this video. And yes, as G. Anderson says, don't waste your time on You Know Nothing. I get that. Basically clickbaiting your audience by putting the word prediction in your video titles. A little bit, yes. I do think there's well, what do you call it? A reason, a partial reason? What do you call it? I'm losing the word, but yes, it is partially clickbaiting, if you want to use that term. It is to kind of attract people to my videos, to make sure that the videos are watched and not just be scrolled off. So yes, it is partially clickbait, if you want to use that term. Definitely. And it is also, and I'll be completely honest with you because I don't mind being entirely honest, it's also because if you type in, for example, VIH stock, then it's actually not going to be with this one. Maybe stock. Why doesn't it happen now? So it's also based on search engine optimization. What I try to do is I try to optimize my search results so that my videos show up higher in the search results. And yeah, a lot of times people are looking for the words like FG&A, stock, price prediction. So that's another reason why I use the word prediction in my title, so that the video shows up earlier in search results. Okay, I hope that's everything. And now I'm going to, stop with answering your questions. But if you do want, honestly, if you do want more answers, then maybe write to me. Actually, I'll type in my email address, support@nesami.com. If you do have more questions, you know nothing, then send me a message to support@nesami.com. I very much don't mind talking with you very seriously about any concerns, any questions you might have, any like complaints you might have. I don't mind me being completely honest with you about the things that I do and why I do them. I think I've also always been quite honest about that. So I hope that makes sense. I've spent about 10 minutes on you now, so I'm now going to spend the rest of the stream to other people. I hope that is all right with you. And again, if you do have more questions, let me know on that email and we can have a chat. Okay? All right, I'll need a glass of water after that conversation. Holy shit. But it's honestly important, right? Because honestly, I see a few people saying like, just block him. But I do think that it's important to be completely honest. And that's something I'm very much trying to do with my own channel. I think what I'm always trying to do is to go against that I think there are so many people who are not being honest in this world, especially on YouTube. And they just show the beautiful things, but they don't really show the bad things. So I think he does, poses some interesting questions. And I'll leave it at that. Okay, what else do we have? What else do we have? The $20 billion valuation on Ginko. Oh, oh my God, that's the, right. $20 billion, you say? That's interesting. I haven't looked at the investor presentation, so I don't really know. Do they have investor presentation? Let's see if we can find it. If you have an investor presentation for this, then maybe check it out. Maybe forward it to me. Recent press release, press kits. Yeah, maybe they don't have a presentation just yet. But if it's 20 billion, I would very much be interested in knowing like how much their revenue is, how much their EBITDA is, what their kind of multiple is, also what kind of like what their competitors are doing, because I'm not entirely sure what kind of company this is. So it looks to be, well, a biopharmaceutical company, I suppose. The organism company, so I suppose microbacterial company. Yeah, without a investor presentation, I can't really do a lot, honestly. So if you have an investor presentation for me, I'll take it. I'll take a look at it. SpaceX SPAC IPO, that would be awesome. Use a kick your ass. I would definitely like that. I would not mind getting into a SpaceX myself. Good morning from America. Okay, Marco Hernandez. And I suppose you should pronounce it in a little bit more of an American way instead of the Spanish way, right? That's cool, that's cool. From America. It must be early there as well. What's going on with GIK? So sad for this SPAC. GIK. Yeah, it's basically the same as many other SPACs right now. It's very close to the net asset value of $10 per share, of course. Personally, I'm still holding my what do you call it? My swing trade, as I've got that for a while now, and I'm at least going to hold it likely until we see the merger vote happening on April 21st. And yeah, if we do get a nice bounce in the meanwhile, then I'm definitely potentially going to take some profits there. But yeah, I'm very likely holding it until the merger happens. But yeah, I think, GIK is definitely not an exception, right? I think many SPACs are right now down a lot. 33K shares of Palantir. Look at that. Holy crap. That's quite a bit. That's quite a bit. GG. Nice going. So yeah, Palantir. I've been looking at this chart for quite a few times because this could be a very interesting swing trade. I do think that the support at $22.50 more or less is a very strong support for Palantir. Right now we are trading a little bit between that support of 22.50 and the 55 EMA, so this white line over here. And it's going to be interesting to see what is going to happen in the next coming weeks. I would be leaning towards more upside, mainly because of the indicators looking pretty good, especially the RSI moving back to the upside, back above the exponential moving average. It's looking like a constructive read over there. I would consider this to be a rather bullish signal as well, and the MACD crossing back to the upside. So honestly, I do think that the next coming weeks could be... we could see some green numbers, I would say. Definitely. Well, not definitely, but like I would say like 70%, 75% upside and 25 to 30% downside. Do you have any FRX calls or just shares? Just shares, because I'm not sure if in the Netherlands, but like on a platform that I use, which is De Giro. You always have trouble saying that in Dutch when I've just been talking about it in English. But I can't buy any options on individual like stocks, if you will. I can only buy options on on ETFs. So unfortunately, there is no possibility for me to even go on calls. But it could be an opportunity for sure. 985 target entry FRX. Yeah, that would be cool. Add on a breakout over 1070. Let's go to FRX. Let's see. Let's scroll in a little bit, shall we? So yeah, well, the question is it going to go to 985 with the net asset value of $10 per share? You could, of course, say that it's going to likely stay above as much as possible the $10 per share level. But 1070 would definitely be considered to be a breakout. I do think I would agree with you because of this wick on the 26th of March this year, of course. If we do get above there. But honestly, I think even if we're trading above like $10.30, let's say with this closed at $10.31, I think even if we close above this candlestick over here, which was on the 29th of March, I would already consider that to be, well, that is already a higher high. So I would already consider that to be a pretty good signal. And also if we close, well, above the 8 daily exponential moving average, but especially the 13 daily exponential moving average, I would consider that to be a pretty good indicator too. Oh, wait, you want to get out at 11:25 already. Okay. Then it's a different story. Then I suppose you're more of a day trader, almost going more into the smaller, like shorter term time frames. Then I suppose you can use different measurements, different indicators. But yeah, usually I personally look at the daily chart myself. But yeah, sounds like a good plan. Have you looked at APSG? No, I have not. Let's check it out. Okay, does this have a target? Let's see. I've never used this website, so I'm actually going to try and use... Which one do we look at? APSG. APSG. Let's see if that has a target. Seeking target according to this website. Can we see anything here? Does this have a search option? I'm not sure. Let's then just Google it. Old school. APSG. SPAC. Supported by Apollo. Vista? Is that it? Has been put on ice. Okay. March 18th. So I'm not sure if it actually does have a confirmed target. I'm not sure. If it does, maybe send me the investor presentation so that I can take a look at that. But I have not looked at it. I do not know. Yeah, it's very unfortunate that I can't use the SPAC tracks anymore, because usually when I had a question, I would just go to the SPAC profiles and search it that way. But unfortunately, that's not available anymore. So yeah, and I believe it was like $30 per month, and I don't really think I'm going to spend $30 per month on something like this. So yeah, so if it does have a confirmed target, let me know. And also if there's a investor presentation, let me know too. I have July calls 1160 to break even on FRX. You mean? Yeah. Okay. Cool. Better to teach SEC document review for SPAC IPO warrants review and timed buying. Wait, what? Better to teach SEC document review for SPAC IPO warrants? I don't really understand the last part. I'm sorry. My reading skills are not up to date, I suppose. So better to teach SEC document review. I get that. For SPAC IPO, I get that. But the last part, like warrants review and timed buying, I don't really understand what you're saying. Use a kick your ass, but if you have a good, if you can clarify a little bit, that would be helpful. But yeah, I do think looking or being able to read the SEC documents is useful, definitely, for sure. I appreciate your analysis, especially on SPACs. Thank you, Dave. Thank you. Not really interesting what some douche thinks. Yeah, well, honestly, yeah. I mean, everyone has their own opinion, right? I think it's important to listen to all the parties involved and not just the people who say good things, but also listen to the people who say bad things, because they might have a point and they might have something useful to say that I can work on. And I'm always trying to improve myself just as a person, my business, my philosophy, my future long-term goals. So yeah, if there are any points that I can improve on, then I definitely will take the opportunity to do so. Have you seen the changes Warren Buffett has made? I'm not sure what kind of changes you're referring to, but let me know. Maybe that he is going more and more into tech companies, for example, instead of just the traditional Coca-Cola companies. I think, yeah, Warren Buffett, I believe, well, I mean, he's an old guy, right? So he's not going to be around for like 20, 30 years anymore. He's likely this is just speculation, right? But I would say that he would be in the process of handing over his business to younger people, so that when he does, hopefully not soon, but when he does pass away at some point, then yeah, his business is still in solid hands. And yeah, I do think that with a change like that, there could also be other changes involved, from like more valuation investing like he did to a little bit more like maybe a little bit more into growth stocks. If you have nothing good to say, better be quiet or go to another channel. Yeah, nah, I get that. NGA is going public with Lion Electric. Yes, it does, Patrice. How are you doing? Any strategy, any idea, strategy on this stock, like your videos and streams? I appreciate that. Thank you. I suppose you're French or Canadian French, maybe. So welcome. If it's Canadian French, then I suppose it's quite early for you too. So do I have any ideas? Well, the only idea that I have about NGA is basically the video that I did about NGA, which is a valuation video. Apart from that, let's actually pull up the graph, shall we? It probably had a very, it has a very similar graph. It didn't go all the way back to the $10 level, so that's good. Now let's actually see what I put the price at, or well, what the investor presentation put the price at. So the midpoint valuation was about $19, a low estimate of 17 and a high of 21, more or less. And currently it's actually a little bit above that low valuation, so that's pretty good to see. Yeah, any ideas? Honestly, not really. I do think we might be slightly undervalued if the midpoint valuation should actually be $19.07. I do think this could be a stock that could, what do you call it? That could benefit from the Biden infrastructure plan. So that's definitely a positive side for this SPAC. And I wonder, does it already have a merger date? Does it already have? Yeah. I want to go to SPAC tracks every single time, but like I can't. I want to see the freaking like numbers. It's annoying. So yeah, I was wondering if there is a merger vote date already, or if they just don't have a date just yet. But again, if you would be interested in a stock like this for the long term, I do think that this could be an opportunity. It could be an opportunity. With regards to technical analysis, yeah, I can't really say too much interesting stuff about this, I would say. I do think there's some support over here going on at around $16.50. which was created by this high over here, this low over here. It did go through here, but it very quickly returned back to the upside. And of course, this low over here. So I do think that $16.50 seems to be a pretty good support for now. So I like that. Yeah, with regards to technical analysis, I can imagine that this level of about $18.75 is going to be a resistance point, mainly because of this white line, which is the 55 exponential moving average. So that could definitely turn into some resistance. And I also think that it could be some resistance because we have a little bit of resistance because of this high over here, this low over here, and this price action over here. So I do think that between like $18.75 and $19.11 could be in an area of a resistance. Apart from that, I don't really have any other ideas, honestly. I happen to be a financial expert, and I do believe that he clearly stated that he is just sharing his DD, not making recommendations. Just saying, yes, that's exactly right. Nesami, we all appreciate your work. Continue this way, please. Thank you, Mugens. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, thank you for saying that too, right? I definitely appreciate that, but again, I also want to listen to the other opinions. One of the company he, WB, invested in was Schrödinger. I think that's an interesting one. What do you think? What company are you talking about? Oh, Warren Buffett, of course. One of the companies he invested in, so Warren Buffett, was Schrödinger. I think that's an interesting one. What do you think? I haven't looked into that, but I believe that ARK Invest was also accumulating shares of Schrödinger, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see if we can actually pull that up. Let's actually do it another way. Let's go to kathysark.com. Let's meanwhile close a few things. Let's go to combined. Let's search for tickers, and oh damn, what's the ticker for Schrödinger? Schrödinger, SDGR, SDGR, yeah, there you go. So it's in the ARK-G fund, so it's a genomic play, I suppose. So they definitely have been accumulating shares, and now I'm talking about ARK Invest, not Warren Buffett. But over the last couple of months, I would say, since like December, they have been raising quite a bit a number of shares they have already had. Actually sold a little bit here on the top, so pretty good selling by ARK. And now they are accumulating shares, likely just because of this previous price drop. So with regards to like fundamentals of this company, I don't know anything about it. So they own 4.6% of the company. Company has a market cap of 5 billion more or less, price to sales of 49. Okay. It doesn't consider, well, it's not a large part of their ARK-G ETF. So let's actually take a look at the graph, shall we? So I don't know this company, so the only thing that I can talk about is, ARK Invest, investing in this company, and a little bit of technical analysis. So we did have a massive drop, and it looks like that was, because of the earnings call they had on March 4th. I'm not sure what was said during that earnings call, but I imagine that it was not very positive. With regards to technical analysis, I do think we have a nice level over here. That's actually not what I wanted to do. A little bit more to the upside, more or less here. And I think we also have a nice level here. And what else? Here's another level. Oops, come on. That's what I want. And I think here we also have an interesting level. Okay, I think these are the most important levels to look at. So right now it seems to be ranging a little bit between this support level, which was created kind of by this low, this high, this low, and now this low too. So that's a support of 64 and a resistance of about 83, which was created partially by this price action over here, this low over here, this high over here, and now again this high over here, and also because of the 55 EMA, which is this white line over here. So I do think we could see some more ranging price action between these two levels. That could definitely happen. Yeah, what else can I say about this? It seems to be that it is preparing itself for a move to the bullish, to the upside, because the RSI has cooled off quite a bit and is now seemingly going back to the upside, as we can see. So first we had a nice downswing, and then now we are in a trending mode to the upside, making higher lows and higher highs on the RSI, which is always good, of course. Which is always good. Let's see, what else can we talk about? Yeah, the MACD seems pretty good too. MACD was first all the way down here. Now it crossed back above the signal line. It's likely going, well, it's likely. I could definitely see this going down a little bit in the next coming days, potentially to about, do we have any targets? Well, I would say about this level of $70 more or less flat. Then I do think in the longer term, in the next couple of weeks more or less, we could definitely see some more price action happening, but I'm not I don't really have a strong opinion about this. If I would have to put a percentage on it, I would say like 55 to 60% upside in the next coming weeks, and 45 to 40% downside in the next coming weeks. Yeah, I'm a little bit split on this one, to be very honest with you, with regards to technical analysis. Hope that makes sense. Don't waste your time. No, that's all fine. So basically, clickbaiting, we talked about that. Just boot him. Can we boot the douche? I get that. Probably back holding. Oh, whoa, what happened there? Something happened. What the hell? What was that? Anyways. Troll by his name. Nothing wrong with being critical. Definitely, there is nothing wrong with being critical. But I hope you're also open-minded towards what I said. Block him, let's continue. Must be a noob. No, let's... Thoughts about TPGY? That's what I want to talk about. Let's go. What's your thoughts about TPGY against the rest of the charges? Looks like it's flat and have a stagnant movement. Yeah, so with regards to price action, we definitely are not seeing any interesting stuff. A few thoughts that I have is I think this is still undervalued, especially if you compare this to ChargePoint. I don't know what the current pro forma market cap is of TPGY, but it, yeah, I honestly don't know that from the top of my head. But if we go to ChargePoint right now, the market cap seems to be 7.7 billion, and I do think TPGY is definitely lower than that, potentially even, I think about half of that, 4 billion more or less, could be. I'm not entirely sure if that's the case. You would need to verify that, but I definitely think this is still undervalued. My fair valuation, my midpoint valuation was about $38. Let's actually see if that's correct. TPGY, yeah, $38. So I do think it's still undervalued. Any thoughts that I have about it versus the other charges? I made a video about it. I'm not sure if you've seen that video, but in there I basically, what do you call it? I basically make a comparison between TPGY, ChargePoint, and EVgo. So if you go to my channel and probably just look for TPGY, I can't speak today. Well, I can actually speak today, but it's a little bit difficult. This video over here, so SBE versus TPGY versus CLII. This is an analysis that I've done for these three companies. I think that's a pretty solid video to compare a few things. And basically, TPGY seem to be the best of the three. So you might wonder, okay, but why is it flat and why does ChargePoint go up in the meantime? Because ChargePoint does seem a little bit more bullish compared to TPGY right now. And I actually haven't looked at CLII for a while. It's a little bit like TPGY and what's the other one? SNPR merging with Volta. That's a little bit more bearish than TPGY. Interesting, by the way, because, well, is it? Yeah, I think it makes sense, actually. I think it makes sense. So, yeah, why would TPGY still be a little bit flat? Honestly, I think it might, just a pure speculation from my part here, it might have to do a little bit with the fact that it is more a European stock. I think most people are focusing on American stocks and not so much on European stocks, or companies rather. And this is definitely a European company. They are mainly very big in Europe. They are going to be, of course, also, expanding their business into the United States. But for now, mainly in Europe. So it might be that everyone is looking more at ChargePoint right now compared to TPGY. And yeah, that might be a potential reason for why TPGY is a little bit flat and why ChargePoint is a little bit more going to the upside. Yeah, hope that makes sense. But yeah, honestly, I do think I'm holding this for the long term, for 3-5 years, probably more, because I do think that it is an interesting company. I'm actually when the whole pandemic situation has been gone, going to try to do some more like in-person interviews with people from the company. So I'm definitely looking forward to going to EVBox. Since I'm based in the Netherlands, I can relatively easily go to that company, of course. So those are my thoughts. I see my messages got you passive aggressive. No, I'm not sure if that's transparency is very important. Yes, I hope I have been very transparent. So I think I have, but if you want more transparency, then hit me up. Addressing trolls is gentlemen. Thank you, Dave. That's fine. What's up, Alex? I'm very sad with MPA ASTS. Yeah, that's a nasty one for sure. That's ASTS, of course. That's definitely a nasty one. So I personally got out at this one. I notified my Discord Premium members that I got out partially before the merger vote on I think 11:50 more or less, and partially after the merger vote, which I believe was at 10 or 11 probably, something like that. Because I didn't really want to hold after the merger, because right now the floor of $10 per share is of course gone, and it can definitely go lower, as we have seen with View, which is one of the companies that I am still holding for the long term. And this has also gone to $8.21 right now, even lower. It went to $7 almost. $7 and 13 cents. So yeah, there are definitely some SPACs that are not going very strong. Now you might wonder why I think that is. I think people are focusing a little bit more on the safer plays right now. And I think that a company like AST Space Mobile, well, it doesn't really have any revenue yet for the next 2 years, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, it could definitely take a while for this to pay off. I do think if you're willing to hold this for the long term, it could definitely be an opportunity. But again, long term, I'm meaning 3+ years, or rather even 5+ years. Because yeah, this might definitely not pay off for years on end, right? That is basically what happened to Tesla. And I'm not going to compare Tesla with AST Space Mobile. But if you look at this graph, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Zoom in. So Tesla basically went flat for a long period of time, May 2017 to January 2019. So 2 years it went flat, And yeah, that is definitely something that could happen with NPA. NPA can definitely go flat for 2 years because they are not going to make almost any revenue for the next 2 years. And when they do start making revenue, maybe that's the time when they actually do go up. So do keep that in mind. I definitely think there might be a K-shaped recovery going on in the SPAC world. I do think that we might see some safer SPACs like the FRX one and the GNPK one that could potentially go up, and the more risky ones like ASTS, like AST Space Mobile, TSIA potentially as well, that could definitely go down, unfortunately. So yeah, in the short term, it's really difficult to say what is going to happen, right? And honestly, I definitely feel bad for you, Alex, because yeah, it's definitely hard to lose that much money on a trade like this, or on a investment like this, right? When should the SOAR heard at first they recruit and CEO, also insider of EST Space Mobile, bought 2.5 million amount of shares at 11.60. Yeah, well, that's a good sign, right? That's a very good sign, actually, because if the CEO of Rakuten, who is an insider of AST Space Mobile, is buying at that price, then he must be thinking that it is a good long-term investment too, right? So again, I think long-term, I would say that it is still fine, but yeah, I can imagine that it's very painful in the short term. So I'm sorry for hearing that. Sorry for hearing that. SRNG, no deal yet. I'm not sure deal yet. Okay. Have you looked at the APSG SPAC? Yeah, we just talked about that. Or was that you too? I'm not sure. But you say that it is talking about merging with Solero and 2 other companies. Yeah, okay. So honestly and personally, I don't really look into SPACs that don't have a definite target just yet. And usually, even if it doesn't even have an investor presentation yet, it takes way more time for me to go into a company like this. Whereas on the, on the live stream, I just don't really have a lot of time to go into those kind of SPACs. So that's why I usually don't really go into those SPACs. And again, if it's merging with well, if it's talking about merging with 3 companies, and I'm going to merge, or I'm going to look at Solero, and then it doesn't end up merging with Solero, then it's a little bit, yeah, unfortunate for both of our time, I suppose. Hope that makes sense. Hope that explains a little bit why I don't really talk about that much about SPACs that don't really have a target yet. Okay, what else do we have? Ginko had like $80 million of revenue with Google search. Okay. That's okay, and the valuation was 20 billion? If I that's interesting. That's interesting. But yeah, it's probably basically based on future revenue, right? I can imagine that. I'm very bullish with Nuvi. Yeah, that's the NBAC SPAC, right? Did I do a SPAC valuation on that one? I don't think so. I think not. I mean, I've done like 50 already, so I think I didn't talk about that one, but I do know that my man, Mark Hake, I did an interview with this guy who knows quite a bit about SPACs and about valuations. This guy's way smarter than I am. He's a CFA. What is it? A Chartered Financial Analyst. And basically, he knows quite a bit about SPACs and valuations because, yeah, that's basically what he does. And he has written an article about Nuvi. I haven't personally looked into it myself, but Mark Hake was quite bullish on it. So maybe check out, maybe Google Mark Hake and then Nuvi, and then go to investorplace.com. That's the article he's written. Let's see if we can quickly check what his target was. So NBAC stock is worth $31, he said. Nuvi, of course. Oh wow, it's all the way back to almost net asset value. Yeah, so I kind of think that he is comparing itself with ChargePoint, and I do think that ChargePoint might be a little bit further ahead compared to companies like Nuvi. But again, I think that long term, this could definitely be an interesting play. Keep in mind that, of course, right now we have like, what, 6 companies that are into the EV charging space. We have ChargePoint, EVbox, EVgo, Volta, Nuvi. I think I'm missing another big one. Can't really think of it, but there are multiple more ones. And well, you can imagine that maybe with 6, the market is still fine. But if you have like 20 or 30 EV charging SPACs or stocks, then yeah, it's probably not going to work out in all of those cases, right? Just like with crypto, you have like 8,000 altcoins. Well, not all 8,000 altcoins are going to do well. So yeah. Very bullish on Nuvi. So yeah, again, I think long term it definitely could be an interesting play. I can't really remember how far ahead they are. I'm not entirely sure if they already have a lot of revenue. Let's see, 2022 Nuvi forecast revenue to 94 million and 2021 32 million. Right. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think it could be an opportunity. Read through this article. It's going to give you probably a better understanding of the valuation of the company. Let's see. Good morning from Algeria. How are you doing? Is that where they talk French too? I never really know. I really should go to Africa once. Really should go there. It's just such a different world, I suppose. Looking forward to it. Anyways, I have TPGY also, the best one. Yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting battle between ChargePoint and TPGY, honestly. I think it's like the battle between America and Europe on the other hand, right? I think it's very interesting to watch what is going to happen in the next 5 years, more or less. Good night from South Korea. Good night, man. Good night, Alex. Happy to have you here, as always. Ginko is valued at 20 billion, but it has very little revenue. Yeah, I suppose the valuation is based on future performance, right? I suppose that's the case. Does it matter what price you buy FRX at if you want to hold body? No, not sure if I understand your question, but No, if you just want to hold body, then you can. This sounds very weird. If you want to hold my body, then no. Okay. Sorry. If you want to, oh my god, I can't. If you want to hold the company the Beachbody, then it doesn't really matter what price you buy it. It's the only thing that is going to change when the merger occurs is the name of the stock and the ticker symbol. So the price is going to stay the same. The valuation is going, well, it's not going to stay the same exactly, but the pro forma valuation is going to stay the same. But if you just want to have the company, then it does not matter. If you buy right now or if you wait until it reaches 15, no, it just doesn't matter. Hope that makes sense. Given all-time highs of S&P 500 and the Nasdaq, would a broader market correction or drop bring these SPACs significantly further down? Most of even these good ones have no revenue, just projections. Thank you for your guidance and all the help you provide to the investing community. Greatly appreciate your videos and content. Thank you very much for saying that, and I think that's a very kind message, and yeah, I thank you. Also, thank you for being here, by the way, and thank you for sharing your time with me, because I know that time is a very valuable good nowadays, more valuable than it's ever been, I think. But yeah, so your question is, if we do see a correction, would that lead to a correction of the stock market too? So I think that we need to make a difference between the S&P 500 and Nasdaq a little bit. I know that in general they usually trade a little bit together, as we can see over here, but usually sometimes there are a little bit of like divergences, if you will. If you look at the Nasdaq, for example, what happened after February 16th was a major downside. Let's see, there was about 11% more or less. And let's go to the S&P 500. This was that level. So that was 4.5%. So Nasdaq dropped 11%. S&P 500 dropped 4.5% in basically the same period of time. And what that tells me, and it could tell you something entirely different, but what that tells me is that people go a little bit more from the more like tech stocks who might be a little bit overvalued and more risky and more long-term play into more safer stocks, like, well, also holdings of the Dow Jones, of course. This is probably even a smaller drop. Let's see, 16th, so like 2% drop, I believe. That was for the same period, right? Oh, wait, no, February. It almost didn't even drop, did it? It almost didn't even drop. Yeah, it was like 2% as well. So I do think that in times like these, or not in these, because it does seem like we have a correction back to the upside, but at some point, people move away from riskier stocks and SPACs, because I do think SPACs are a little bit like the Nasdaq. Potentially they are more riskier than the stocks in the Nasdaq, I would say, because as you say, many of these SPACs are basically purely based and valued on projections, especially in the case of companies that don't have any revenue for years. There are exceptions, of course, but I do think that at some point when the market is going to go down, most of the SPAC market is also going to go down, because people go away from risky stocks and SPACs more towards safer plays, potentially even gold, but even gold went down, so maybe gold is not even a good example anymore. But I do think they could go more into the safer plays, Dow Jones, those kind of like value plays that already have been around for a long period of time, that have proven themselves. So yeah, I hope that makes a little bit of sense and brings SPACs significantly further down. So the thing is, they already have been going down a lot, man. Yeah, I think we've already seen that happening, you know? If we go to the SPAC ETF, we can see that we already have a drop of like 26% in the last 2 months, more or less, since like February 22nd. So I do think we already have seen that significant drop you were talking about. Is it going to go down a lot more? Difficult for me to say. I think not. I honestly think not. But you can pose the question, because why do I think not? Well, the thing is, many of these SPACs, and I've got these playlists, watch list, let's actually get rid of this, of SPACs that I've been looking at some point in time. And of course, many of these are actually very close to that $10 level. So yeah, 1183, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. So many of these SPACs are very close to that level of $10 per share, which is the net asset value. So before the merger occurs, there is, of course, that kind of like floor, if you will, of $10 per share. So it is very difficult to go even below that because people are going to start buying them and redeeming their shares for $10 per share, which is perfectly possible before the merger vote occurs. So I don't really think we're going to see much lower prices, honestly. It's going to depend on the SPAC as well. I mean, there's a higher chance that a SPAC like, I don't know, can we find an example? Maybe IPOE goes from $18 to $10 than it is for a SPAC like, I don't know, GIX going from $10 to $9, you know? So I think it depends a little bit on the SPAC. I think in general, I would not be very bearish about the SPAC market in the next like couple of months, but that's just like not a prediction. It's just a pure speculation from my part. So if we do see a correction right now, if we do see the S&P 500 going down, like, well, I don't know, back to the FND 55 EMA, maybe 5% move, maybe some of those SPACs are going to go down even more to that $10 level, but I kind of think that the SPACs that are already trading at $10 per share are probably not going to see more downsides. Hope that makes sense. I'm going to take a little bit of my water and continue reading. So here's an interesting one. Nesami is going to be my real life friend one day. People from Netherlands, I love that, are super nice and real people. I appreciate that, Bryce TV. I appreciate Bryce. I like you saying that. Actually, wonder, do you have a channel yourself, by the way? Bryce TV. My voice. I can't really click on your name on here. Can I click? Let's see. Go to my other window. Bryce TV. I can't click on your name, so that's a little bit annoying. So do you have a channel as well? Let me know. I'd be interested to see a little bit more about that. Anyways, what did I want to say? Yeah, it would be awesome to hang out at some point. You know, if this whole pandemic situation is going to go away, then I would definitely be up for like a meetup with some people from the Discord and from this community over here on YouTube. That would be pretty epic, just to have a day where we can gather and talk about stocks and drink beer and I don't know, go through the Netherlands and check out some stuff. That would be cool. What's up? Oh my god. You really need to tell me at some point how to pronounce your first name, Cesar. Cesar. I just don't want to butcher your name because you're a nice guy and I don't want to butcher your name, but I don't want to say like Caesar because, yeah, well, whatever. Anyways, what's up? How are you doing, man? How's the wife? What's your top holding and your top SPAC? So my top holding with regards to like the number, like the highest amount of money I have in a top top thing in a stock or whatever. If that's the case, my biggest allocation is Bitcoin right now. I did the what do you call it? Did the portfolio like review. I did the portfolio update last week. I think, did I do that last week? Yeah, I did that last week. So if you want to check out my portfolio, then you can go to the live stream of last week, where I go through my portfolio. Were you there, by the way? I can't really remember if you were there. You usually are there, so probably, but but yeah, and that's where I share my entire portfolio, of course, and that's where you can see my entire holdings. So with regards to like the amount of money, Bitcoin is my largest crypto holding and also my largest holding in general. With regards to stocks, I believe that right now, I think Ag Eagle is my biggest holding. I think so. I'm not entirely sure, but I think it is. Ag Eagle or Lemonade. I think like Ag Eagle, Lemonade, and Tesla are very close together. So sometimes it's one, sometimes the other one, sometimes the other one. So I think Ag Eagle right now is in the first position. But it's mainly because I bought at a pretty good price at like $2.70. And I ran it all the way up here, took some profits along the way, added a little bit back over here, I believe, and added a little bit back over here. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, I think Ag Eagle is the largest stock position. Top SPAC, largest position over there is TPGY. And if you're asking me about like my highest conviction stocks, Bitcoin is highest crypto conviction, highest stock conviction. Maybe Lemonade. Well, highest conviction Tesla, but like I think Lemonade has more like upside to go, if you will. Tesla is probably not going to go like 100x, but Lemonade could potentially, at some point in 15 years, go 100x. Potentially. So I think Lemonade is definitely one of my favorite ones. But I think Tesla would be my highest conviction stock, if you will. Yeah, I just love Elon Musk, you know. But yeah, I know you like SpaceX, so you probably like Elon Musk too. So yeah, I think that is my highest conviction stock, Tesla. And if I can't choose Tesla and I need to choose like a higher, like more risk but higher rewards, then I would go for Lemonade. And the top conviction SPAC that I have would be a TPGY too. Yeah, TPGY. Monday resistance on the Nasdaq at 1385.850 down to 13600. Monday and Tuesday then bounce off support to break. Oh, okay, look at that. Let's go. Let's go. This is my technical analysis kind of stuff. Inverse head and shoulders on the Nasdaq. What kind of time frames do you use, by the way? What kind of time frames do you use? Probably not the daily, if I had to guess. It seems more like a 15-minute chart or something. Potentially. Could definitely be, yeah, I'm not going to go into the entire rigmarole, but yeah, looks like you got everything under control. Inverse head and shoulders always is a pretty good thing to look at, right? Anyways, Patrice says exactly, what was I talking about with Patrice? Let's see. NGA, we were talking about NGA with that, I think. Yeah. Concerned about new COVID mutations? Not really. Are there any like new ones, by the way? Because I've only been I've only heard about the like British variant and the South African variant, I believe, which was like a month ago or even longer. So I believe so far, not really. But yeah, I haven't really been looking at the COVID news in the last couple of days. So there might be like new COVID mutations. So far, it doesn't really seem to be a problem, but honestly, I'm definitely not an expert on that in that area, so I don't really know that. Oh, damn it, it bounced again. Where was I? Sell marginalized shares in post-market or pre-market? Post or pre? And buy the dip at support and add on tech. Look at you go. But never believe just some random guy. Exactly. That's what I say too. Do you see more downside coming? Inflation fears will not be good for growth at the moment. I want the fear to really hit. I don't. And it will start, to get some buying opportunities, right? I like skills, but not sure if I should be waiting for a lower support or get in now, as it could bounce where it is. Yeah, so let's unpack that a little bit. Inflation fears. Do I see more downside coming because of inflation? I think that we might, yeah. I was going to say that inflation was kind of priced in because of this movement over here on the Nasdaq, where we went like 11% lower. So that could be potentially because of the inflation fears. But of course, now we are back at that previous all-time high. So right now, that argument is going a little bit out of the window, I suppose. Yeah. Honestly, this is something I'm trying to learn a little bit more about, right? I listen to these chats of Kathy Wood and ARK Invest, and she's talking about the market, and I understand what she's saying, but I really need to understand it, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's easy to hear and then say, oh yeah, that makes sense. But then to really capture that concept of what she's saying is really difficult for me. Anyways, inflation fears definitely could be leading to a correction. I kind of think that this was the part of the inflation fear. And now I kind of think that we are looking to see if inflation is actually going to hit, you know? Because right now everyone is talking about it, but we haven't really seen major inflation just yet. So I kind of think that until we have, I would say permanent, consistent inflation of like more than 6 months or something like that, above like, I don't know, 2.5%, 3%, then I can definitely see the market going down considerably. I can definitely see that happening. But yeah, the next coming months are going to be interesting for sure with regards to inflation, because year over year, it definitely is going to be a higher number, of course. And that could definitely lead to some, what do you call it? Some correction. I see that. Oh my God. Yeah. Okay, that's funny. What's up, Cesar? How you doing, man? Save up so you can buy some VACQ. I love that. I love that. Yeah. I can already buy 10 pounds, I believe, in total of Rocket Lab. So that's awesome. That's awesome to hear. Anyways, what did you say? I didn't watch your portfolio one, but I have a look when I have a chance. My name is pronounced César. Okay, but like the R at the end is so annoying, right? It's like a kind of French R at the end, or not? Like César? Or is it like César? No, not César. César? I think César. Something like that. Hope I'm doing okay. I think the last part is like Pegado, so I hope that is good too. I'm a huge Elon fanboy, good. And Tesla is my biggest holding, good. On all fronts, good. My top SPAC is VCQ. Have bought in yet. Yeah, I know. My wife is fine. Good. I like to hear that. I like to hear that. Oh man, I really need to go to Portugal at some time. Anyways, where are we? Right, we were talking about inflation, but César was being so kind to donate me £5, so I appreciate that. Oh wait, you live in United Kingdom, of course, right? Yeah, should go to United Kingdom then. Outside of the European Union. Anyways, you were talking about skills as well, Don. So yeah, I made a video about skills, so I'm not going to go through the entire technical analysis there. You probably already know what I think about that, because you probably have seen that video, I kind of suggest. Lower support, yeah, would be awesome. One thing I'll say about that is potentially what I usually do is if I am very split on a decision, if I, for example, in this case say, well, you know what, it could go up, it could go down, it's like 50% going up, 50% going down to the support of like, I don't know, $14.30. What you can do is a dollar cost average and maybe potentially buy half right now and buy half at a later point in time. So potentially buy that second half when it does go to that level of $14.30, or when it does actually go up above, like, I don't know, $20 more or less. So that could be a potential strategy. I invested in iSun heavily last week. Can you give your advice, please? No, I honestly cannot give advice. So yeah, that's going to sound a little bit harsh. I'm sorry for that, but I honestly cannot give you financial advice. I can only give you my opinions, and I do want to make that clear. So I don't know this company. I'll start off with that. I don't know anything about the fundamentals of this company or the valuation of this company. Well, I know that it seems to be a very small company of, I do hope that I have the correct one, by the way. ISUN, I do think so. Is this a SPAC or not, by the way? Actually, I don't know. Probably not. No, I don't think so. So it seems to be a very small company of 110 million, which is definitely small. And let's actually go to Yahoo Finance to see if Yahoo Finance has a different opinion. Let's see. Yeah, so about 111 million with an M of McDonald's. That way you remember it a little bit more. So it's a very small company. Keep that in mind. And I don't know anything about it, but I can do some technical analysis because that's the only thing that I do know about this company. More or less at that level. Yeah. Difficult. It's a difficult chart to do technical analysis on, to be honest with you. Yeah. Do I have a strong opinion about this? So I kind of have a relatively strong opinion about this support of about $12 more or less, $11.90. I do think that's an important support level. I definitely think we could be going down to that level, because I do think that right now we don't really see a lot of price action that's going to support the move right now. We had a pretty massive candlestick on Friday of 9% down. And I kind of think that that aggressive move is going to continue a little bit more to $11.80 more or less. I definitely think we could see a bounce over there. But that could potentially be an opportunity if you think this is a good company for the long term, if you think the fundamentals are right, if you think the team is right, if you think the revenue is fine, if you think the business model is good, then it could be potentially, very potentially, in my personal opinion, which is definitely not financial advice, be an opportunity. And I'll leave it at that. Skills swing up to 1310, must take profit by then, as it will reject off 1315 resistance. That sounds about right, I think. Wait, 13? What? You were probably saying a different number, I suppose. Not sure what kind of numbers you're looking at. And you said you were looking at the 4-hour chart? I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe we're looking at a different chart. I don't know. $13 is definitely a different level than the levels I'm looking at. Anyways, maybe you're talking about a different stock. That could be the case too. Update on THCB? Not really. Just the evaluation video I've done, honestly. Don't really have an update on that. I think that, what do I think? I don't know what I think. What do I think? Sometimes I don't really think. I think Microvast could be an opportunity for the long term. I mean, the battery business is definitely an interesting one to be in right now, because there is going to be, there seem to be some supply issues going on over there. So that's definitely, yeah. I do think a good case for a long-term play. Now, I believe short-term, they don't have a fully fledged business model just yet. So I kind of think that it is short-term, the future is a little bit more uncertain. But I think longer-term, it could be a fine opportunity. Don't really have any updates, honestly. Haven't really been tracking Microvast myself. USA, what do you mean? I don't know what I mean. What did I talk about? I already forgot. What was I talking about with you with regards to the USA? Maybe I was talking about César, and you thought that I was talking about you. When I was talking about Portugal and the UK, I was not talking about you, but I was talking about another guy who sent me the £5. Hope that makes sense. What say you? What's up, Wolf Capital? What say you on FTC CV? Toro took a trade at 15.20. Looking to get in. Hesitant due to valuation. Gotta love accents. Always dig your SPAC valuation videos, by the way. I appreciate that. Thank you, Wolf Capital. I appreciate that. And of course, always keep in mind that it's, I'm just reproducing what's said in the investor presentations. These are definitely not my opinions, because I usually don't do a deep dive on the companies. So the only thing that I do say about FTCV is the valuation video that I did. And according to that video, the price was $16 for a midpoint valuation. So, do I think it has some upside? Let's go to the stonk. Look at that. It actually had a nice move back to the upside. Well, that's interesting. This is one of the few SPACs that is actually going to the upside. I wonder why. Huh. Well, this is, of course, one of the more safer SPACs. It already has a functioning business model. I think a lot of people know the company. So I think it has more interest behind it. So that's pretty good. Honestly, this looks pretty good. Yeah, I do think we could see a little bit more upside. I do think we might go above this previous all-time high, well, previous close of $15.30 more or less. This looks good so far, honestly. And I do think we have enough momentum to crush to the upside. I don't really know about targets. With regards to targets, I would probably be looking at these targets of like $16 for a midpoint valuation and $20 for the high valuation. So what did you took a trade at 15.20? Okay, but looking to get back in, hesitant due to valuation. Yeah, I think the valuation is fine. I don't think it's super undervalued. Sorry, by the way, my neighbor is hammering on the wall. So I hope you can't hear that too much, but he is hammering. Anyways, I think you can actually hear that because my mic is definitely spiking. So I'm sorry for any noises you might hear. Anyways, so you took a trade and you are hesitant to buy back in. So if it's just a small, short-term trade, then I don't really know if this is one of the best trades, honestly, because I don't really know if short-term this is going to go up a lot. I do think there might be better opportunities in the market. If it's a long-term play, though, I think the current price is fine. I think long-term this is a fine company as well to have. I think that they have a beautiful business model and they seem to be working well. No matter what tech sector stock you're in, run it up to 14.2 or the first major resistance and build before the strong resistance incoming level. Historically, Nasdaq rejects hard at the retest of all-time highs. Yeah, it's definitely a good point to get in a little bit earlier to front run the other. I mean, if you have well, let's go to the Nasdaq, right? If you have a target, or if you have a resistance up here at like 337.4, and this is on the triple Qs, by the way, which is the Nasdaq ETF, then you can definitely make a good argument for saying, well, if you want to get in a short-term trades, then it's definitely could be an opportunity to get in a little bit earlier before the resistance actually holds. Definitely true. Use the gains to buy the dip for larger position size if you believe in the stock. Makes sense, makes sense. Also, VACQ seems to me that's a standout space SPAC. Yeah, I definitely think that's the case. So this is going to be interesting. I, of course, made the video about it, and I said that it might be overvalued, but it was based on the investor presentation, based on the multiples that I pulled from competitors. But honestly, the range of multiples that I was using in that valuation video could definitely be on the low end. So definitely make sure that you use the multiples that you believe are correct for the company. But I kind of thought that the company was already relatively richly valued compared to other space companies. But as a company itself, I do think that it is as you say, a standout space SPAC. It's a beautiful thing to say, and probably difficult to say that 10 times. Standout space SPAC, standout space SPAC. But yeah, I definitely think Rocket Lab could be a very interesting opportunity. Maybe, actually, if you go to my video, maybe check out the comments below, because there are some very good comments, I believe. One of Cesar, the awesome guy who just donated $5. So he also had a few things to say about that company, and he's very bullish about the stock. So maybe check out the comments below that video. Those are probably going to give you more and more useful opinions about this company than I can give you. My strategy accumulation selling bubbles off the base trend line. What? Now I'm kind of losing you. And buying the dip with gains, I sell out of the money calls on the 60%. I keep my cost basis down. Best to run with a stock that follows the Nasdaq. So when you talk about options, I kind of get lost because I don't really know a lot about options. So I understand you sharing the knowledge. I appreciate that, Mr. Kick Your Ass. You're probably kicking the stock market's ass. Why are growth stocks not even returning to all-time highs when the indexes... I never know, is it indexes or indices or something? Like plural of index. I really need to learn that. Indices? Oh my god. I need to polish my my English. So they are both acceptable plural forms of the word index. I've been streaming for 1.5 hours, and then my brain gets kind of foggy, I think. This is actually interesting, by the way. This is a what do you call it? A blog from the Nasdaq. Look at that. That's kind of funny. This is actually really funny. Look at this. Most people seem to say indices, I think. Indices? I think it's called indices. If not, indexes. Anyways, back to your question. Yeah, good question, actually. Good question. So, I don't know. I haven't really thought about it, but you now make me think about it, so that's good. So why are growth stocks not returning to new all-time highs when the indices are reaching their all-time highs? Any thoughts? I'll give you one thought. I'm not sure if it makes sense, but I'll give you one thought, that even the indexes or indices are relatively safer plays compared to individual stocks. If you have an index like NASDAQ or Dow Jones or S&P 500, there are not going to be only growth stocks, but also safer companies that have already gotten that proven business model. So I think that an index in itself is already way more stable. And if an index goes back up, that could be potentially, partially, due to a part of that index, the value part, if you will, the companies that already have proven themselves. Those could go up, bring the entire index back to the upside, and growth at the same time staying flat or potentially even going down. So that could be a potential reason, but that's just something that came out of my brain just a few minutes ago. But it could definitely be one of the reasons. So yeah, does that make sense? What do you think? What do you think? Let me know. IT Technik? Bist du Deutsch? Oder? Ich weiß es nicht. The yields meme has hit the highest performing growth stocks the hardest. Right, yes, I had to read that for a second time, but yes. Blame the Wall Street dinosaurs dumping bonds. Yields have seemingly stabilized these days. So growth should keep rebounding. I think I agree with you. If we go to the 10-year Treasury yield, which you can check over here, I kind of think that we might see a little bit more of a downside or more like horizontal price action, if you will. And I think that, well, mainly because of technical analysis, honestly, I do think we might have seen the top right now. I think that we might have seen this beautiful resistance at 175. And I do think we might see this going back to 150 more or less, where the 55 EMA is going to end up and where this support comes in because of this price level, or sorry, this low over here and this high over here. So I kind of agree with you that we probably see a correction due to the downside on the bonds, and that could be good for growth. I agree with you. Thoughts on the Pi Network crypto? No. Honestly, no. I don't know what it is. I've never heard about it, and if I've never heard about it, it's not necessarily meaning that it's bad, but it probably means that it's not a very high or not a very big crypto. Let's go to CoinMarketCap. And go to search. I feel like I have to sneeze, so I might mute myself at some point and then sneeze, but I think I'm going to hold it up for now. Pi Network. Look at that. There's our Pi Network. Or not. Hello. Market data is untracked. No, my Pi Network. Where's my Pi? I want my Pi. Pi Network. What's the ticker for that? Pi USD? P-Chain? No. Pi N? I don't know what the ticker is. Let's go to crypto and type in Pi. Pi Network. I don't know what the ticker is, so I can't really look at technical analysis. But yeah, again, if it's not really on CoinMarketCap, then honestly, I'm a little bit skeptical. Big time divergences. Yeah, which were we talking about? VACQ or another one? I can't remember, but yeah, probably. ASXC technicals. Census makes. How do you pronounce it? Chirurgical? Chirurgical? I need surgery, so that's a. Oh my god, I need to learn how to pronounce that. Oh my. I really need to. Isn't that just surgical? Surgical robots, right? Surgical robots. I think surgical robots. Yeah, I think so. Sorry, I just I'm a translator, so sometimes I I come across words and I don't really know how to say them. So yeah, it's kind of funny. Anyways, I think it's a surgical robot. That's interesting because this is actually going to sound a little bit ironic, because I did translations for one of the biggest surgical robots companies, which is, of course, and now I keep forgetting the name, Da Vinci of, what do you call it? Da Vinci of the company. Hello? Intuitive Surgical. There you go. Intuitive Surgical. Yeah, so I've been translating for this company like a few years ago when I was, or I'm still a translator, but I have been making a few translations for this company a few years ago. So I like surgical robots. I think they're very interesting. But you're looking for technical analysis, so let's do that. And let's not look at crypto, but let's look at this. Okay. So it looks a little bit like the SPAC chart. Yeah. Let's see, shall we? But here, but it's actually a little bit more of a blue box. Let's draw some stuff in, shall we? Where's my stuff? Here? Yes. Yeah. Let's go out a little bit more. Let's see if we can pick up some price action over here. So with all my hmming, it might indicate that, yeah, it doesn't look great. So the company is a relatively small company. Definitely, if you compare to Intuitive Surgical, it might be like 100 times or 1,000 times smaller. 600 million compared to, let's actually see what Intuitive Surgical is trading at right now. I think this is the ticker, yes. Oh, wait, it's just 93 billion. So, yes, okay. Let's go back to this one then. So definitely way smaller compared to its big brother. Now, with regards to technical analysis, it's a little bit difficult on a chart that looks like this because we don't really have that much price action just yet. I do think the box that I've just drawn in is going to be a massive box of, resistance, actually. It was a massive box of support, basically holding up this price action over here. So this low, this low, this low, this wick, this low, and yeah, it was supposed to hold up price action here as well, but it didn't. It now closed below this blue box, and that's not the best signal that you can have. So I honestly would target a move a little bit more to the downside. The indicators are still going to the downside, so we have the RSI still going back down, not a move back above the not back above the EMA on the RSI just yet. Stochastic still going down, and the MACD is still going down. So I kind of think that as far as we don't see a cross back to the upside on the MACD, on the stochastics, on the RSI, and no closure back above the 8 daily exponential moving average, I would target more downside, honestly. And then the question becomes, okay, so where to? And that's a little bit difficult to say because we don't have a lot of price action going on over here. And that's also why I was looking at the previous price action of like a lot of time ago to see if we had any major levels coming in just there. The only level that is the most closest to where we are right now is the level of more or less, this actually closed on or opened on, where is it? 190. So I think more or less on 190 we could see that could be a major target more or less. But yeah, that's of course quite a bit away from where we are right now. That's quite a big drop of 25% more or less. So I don't really have a specific price target for it, but I would be leaning towards more downside in the next coming weeks than more upside. If I would have to put a percentage on that, I think about like 65% likelihood of downside, 35% likelihood of upside, more or less, in the next coming weeks. So that's kind of my technical analysis on a company like this. And again, it's a little bit difficult because there's not a lot of price action. But an interesting company, I'll tell you that much. Higher yields make Wall Street boomers buy up cyclical stocks and commodities and related companies. Companies exemplified by the Dow Jones. Yeah, exactly. Dead in the water, value plays, exactly. Soon to be disrupted companies, I agree. And it looks like you are a ARK Invest lover too, just like I am, so that's awesome. Banks are done, I agree. Well, I think in the current form they are done. They, it's actually funny, I sent a tweet to a few Dutch banks that they should be talking, or they should be taking very seriously the possibility of storing crypto. Anyways, oil's done, yes. Don't let the dinosaurs scare you out of growth stocks, kids. We can't let them win. I love it. Those are some good words, I think, Wolf Capital, and I think I agree with you completely. So that's pretty good. I do think banks are partially done, I think. Maybe there is still a use case for them, for some people, because not everyone is going to transition to like crypto, for example. But yeah, I do agree that we probably have seen the top of the banking world and the oil world and the value plays. So I definitely agree with you, yeah, because I'm also a ARK Invest lover. Anyways, I own Excel fleet, which is going to go down, which is going down lately, and I was wondering if you can provide any technical analysis. Thank you. Sure, I'll pull up the graph, and then I'm going to take a sip of my water because my voice is faltering. Is that a word? Faltering? I think it is. I might have just made it up, but I think it's a good word. Sorry. All right. By the way, I see kick your ass. I was on a delay. Probably not. I am on a delay myself. Well, I'm not on a delay, but I'm responding to comments that have been asked quite a while ago because I'm going through these things a little bit slowly, honestly. So that's my fault, not your fault. But I appreciate you being here. So I love that. I first need to cough for a second, so I'm going to mute myself for a second, okay, soon. So I'm not going to blow up your ears. Might even need more water in a second. Anyways, we were talking about Excel fleet, yes. So technicals, very difficult to give you technicals. Why? Well, basically because we are in a price discovery mode over here. I can draw a level over here, more or less, which is could be acting as resistance. I could put in, let's actually zoom in here and close in more on the chart. So let's move this up a little bit. Let's move this up, yeah, a little bit. Okay, so with regards to technical analysis, it's very difficult to do technical analysis on a chart like this because it doesn't have any price action on these levels. So we are kind of in price discovery mode, meaning that we haven't really seen these prices before. And my neighbors are going crazy, by the way. I think they were smoking weed, by the way, a second ago. So, anyways, probably can't even say that word on the stream, but hey, whatever. Who cares? This is my stream now. So yeah, we are in price discovery mode because we haven't really seen these levels before. So the only thing that I can do with regards to technical analysis is draw in the previous lows. We saw a massive low over here on the 8th of March, which could potentially turn into a resistance at some point if we go back to the upside. And this low over here at $7.50, which could turn into support in the next coming days, potentially even weeks. So those are the only levels that I can tell you. Now we can also take a look at the indicators, of course. This is the RSI. So the RSI is still going down right now. We don't see the RSI going back up again. We don't see a bullish posture just yet. So that would be a bearish signal to me. Stochastics, no real opinion. MACD is going to go to the upside. In general, I could definitely see this moving back towards $7.50. And we could be creating a double bottom over here, because I do think indicators are a little bit bifurcated. Like they are saying two different things. MACD saying, yeah, we could have seen the bottom in place more or less. RSI saying, yeah, I think we're going to go down a little bit more. Exponential moving averages say, yeah, we probably are going to go down a little bit more. Support is saying, yeah, a little bit down, but maybe not that much. So I kind of think that we are going to go down a little bit, maybe to the 750 level, and that could be turning into a double bottom. That's my analysis. Yes, like French, César. Ah, finally. Man, I really need to go. I'm going to go through these comments a little bit quicker because I don't want to be here for hours and hours on end. Even though I am kind of like enjoying this, honestly, I'm having fun today. So thank you. Thank you for that. Hope you're having fun too. Anyways, I kind of want to get moving, especially before 8 o'clock. Well, for me, it's 8 o'clock almost. In 20 minutes, it's 8 o'clock p.m. here. César. Anyways, thoughts on FRX. I've already talked about that, honestly. So I'm not going to talk about that a lot, but I think it's undervalued. I think it's an opportunity, but that's my opinion, not my Not my not financial advice, of course, is very close to the net asset value of $10 per share. So I think there's a good risk reward ratio. What's up, Jerry? How you doing? Stocks is a good place to be during inflation. They move together. For example, Zimbabwe, huge inflation, stock market very high up. Already, I didn't know that. That the huge inflation in Zimbabwe was correlated with the stock market going up. But that's interesting to know. That's interesting to know. But yeah, I can definitely see the argument as well, for the other hand, that the growth stocks could be could take a hit, because it is more like, well, if especially if interest rates are going to go up, right? Not necessarily if inflation goes up, but if interest rates are going up, then it's a little bit more difficult for them to finance their business. But yeah, inflation. I'm wondering to see if we have a lot of inflation going on, by the way. I'm really wondering to see what is going to happen to Bitcoin versus gold. That's going to be an interesting battle. And talking about gold, USA KQRS says, you believe in gold and silver as long-term investments? Honestly, not really. Honestly, not really. So let's pull up the gold. Because the thing is, right, we have seen a move to the downside in the stock market in the last couple of months. And then in the same period of time, the gold market has come down too. Silver market was a little bit more stable, I believe, a little bit more horizontal. So a lot of people say gold is a hedge, but it didn't really act as a hedge during the last move downwards. Well, whereas Bitcoin did actually kind of work as a hedge. So it's kind of interesting to see that we could potentially see a shift from gold towards Bitcoin as a hedge. And yeah, for the last like half a year, more or less, since like August, we are downtrending for gold. We are down 15%. So honestly, I don't really like it as a long-term investment. I can imagine for like rich people who want to like have their money in a safe place, then sure, I understand that. But for a person like me, a millennial, a person of like, I don't know, 20, 30 years, I don't really think a lot of gold is going to do great in your portfolio, honestly. But these are just my thoughts, right? Just my thoughts. And silver, kind of like the same thing. I do hear sometimes people say that there's going to be a massive short squeeze and that we could be hitting targets of, that we could be seeing a massive cup and, what do you call it? A cup and handle, that we could be working our way all the way up here, and then we're going to create a nice little handle, and then we're going to go to the moon of like $85. I don't know, man. I need to see that first of all. I don't really like gold and silver myself. I think new people, young people like us, and I suppose you're relatively young too, I suppose that a lot of people are just not interested in gold and silver anymore, you know? I think most people are interested in crypto, and that's probably where the money is going to go instead of gold. So I honestly think that gold is going to stay relatively flat for the next like 10 years, or go up a little bit, but not as much as the stock market, not as much as crypto, which has been the case in the last couple of decades, I believe. I actually saw some stats today on Twitter for the last 10 years or so. The gold market hasn't really done great. And if you zoom out, right, if you zoom out to the weekly chart and you see that, well, basically like exactly almost like 10 years ago, we were trading at the same levels as we were right now. So if you bought gold in August 2011, 10 years ago, and you would have held it, then you would now have the exact same amount of money. Whereas if you would have put that in the stock market, it would have been way more. And if you would have put that in Bitcoin, you would now be probably a multimillionaire. So honestly, I don't really believe in gold and silver as long-term investments. No. Wow, I really need to go through them quicker. Anyways, what's up with this new cryptocurrencies popping up? Like, yeah, I know, right? SafeMoon and Pitbull, and what the hell is that? I really don't know. I'm staying away from that as much as possible. But I use stock tweets, and sometimes in this trending bar, I see these SafeMoon and Pitbull, and I'm like, what the hell? Today I saw, here it is, Pitbull. I saw Elongate. Yeah, this one. Look at this. Elongate. Like, what? I know that Elon actually did a tweet about that. Like, he said something like, if there's ever an issue with me, please call it Elongate. That was so good. I love that. Anyways, yeah, I don't believe in these new cryptocurrencies. I think it's a 2017 ICO boom all over again. Anyways, Elongate. Anyways, have you looked into QALL? Yes. Well, yes. I know what it is. I know it's merging with Lilium. And ROT, I don't know that one. But I know, yeah, QAL is like the RTP, ACIC, EHang movement, the eVTOL movement. So it could be an opportunity. I believe this is more I believe they don't have a product just yet, if I'm not mistaken, but I could be very wrong with that. I think it's a little bit like Archer, that they are working on a project, but they don't really have a product just yet. But yeah, could be interesting long term. ROT, I don't know that one. Rotor Acquisition Corp. Okay. I'm going to write that down because I don't know anything about it, and I don't really want to go into the whole, what do you call it? Like the whole investigation part, because I do want to kind of wrap this up within like 10 minutes or so. But I want to go through all those questions. I'm looking at Palantir's investing in these SPACs. Okay, good. Open a position. We'll open a position in ROT as well. Just reminds me of aliens. What are aliens? I'll write it down and I'll look it up. Technicals, KOPN. I'll look at that in a second. And meanwhile, I'm going to go to the other. I'm Portuguese, Swedish, and French. Born in Mozambique and live most of my life in Russia? Was that RSA? What is RSA, actually? RSA country. Ah, South Africa, really? I didn't know that. Ah, Republic of South Africa. Ah, okay, that makes sense. So in South Africa then, and now I'm very happily in the UK, but not happy that we're out of the EU. Oh my god, that's an interesting one, man. That's awesome. That's awesome. I really like people who have been around the world and who know multiple languages and who've been like in multiple countries. I love that. I love that. I want to do that myself at some point too. To be traveling and working at the same time. I really look forward to doing that. Anyways, awesome. So Swedish. Man, Swedish. You know Swedish too? It's cool, man. Anyways, technicals, KOPN. Very, very quickly. So we have some support over here at $8 more or less. We have some resistance over here at $11.50 more or less. I could definitely see this going back down for one more time, potentially even to the 55 EMA, which was lately held up, or which was holding up this price action. So you could look at the 55 EMA for a target, but indicators seem already pretty low, so we could definitely be moving back to the upside. Don't have a strong opinion about this one. I could imagine a little bit of sideways price action in the next coming weeks and create like a, what do you call it? A nice little ascending triangle, more or less. It's not going to be drawn beautifully like this, but I can definitely see it moving in this triangle in the next coming weeks and then break out at some point. Matthias Boyer, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Matthias Boyer just subscribed. What's up, man? Welcome. I'm glad you joined us. Anyways, we talked about that. Doritos just subscribed. Let's go. Can you sponsor me? If it's actually Doritos, that would be awesome, you know? If the actual company Doritos subscribes to me, wow. What the hell is going on? What is this kind of like subscribe gang? I don't know Greek, so let's see. Is it an L? I don't know. I don't know. That's awesome. Thank you for the subscribes. I like that. Anyways, where was I? I lost it. Ah, there you go. Index movements are based on rotation. Yeah, we kind of talked about that. Blame JP Morgan. Yes, please. Makes sense what you've mentioned. Probably also growth stocks have been so overvalued. Yeah, that's definitely a good point to IT technique. Definitely. Hopefully I don't become a bag holder. Maybe you can offer some of your strategies moving forward. Yeah, what kind of strategies? What are you looking for? Let me know. Maybe you have some good ideas for videos. I kind of share my SPAC strategies already. And with regards to, I can very briefly explain my strategy with regards to long-term holds. I'm looking for companies that are the leaders in a niche, okay? So ChargePoint, leader in the American EV charging SPAC, in the EV charging space. CRISPR Technologies, leader in CRISPR technologies. DocuSign, leader in digital signing of documents. Lemonade, leader in digital, insurance. Teladoc, leader in telehealth. TPGY, EVBox, leader in the European EV charging sector. Tesla, leader in EVs. So I'm kind of looking for those leaders in a certain niche. That is basically my strategy. With regards to the crypto, basically the same thing. I mainly invest in the biggest cryptos. I right now have Bitcoin, leader in crypto, Ethereum, probably leader in, what do you call it? Leader of altcoins, if you will. Chainlink, leader in smart contracts, I think. Aave could be a potential leader in the DeFi space. Polkadot, probably a leader in the blockchain network space, if you will. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. That's basically my strategy. Trailing stop loss, takeaway on NPA, having merged with a massive sell-off. Is this typical for SPACs? Don't have any shares. We talked a little bit about NPA, so I'm not going to go through that entirely again. I think we talked about it during the beginning of this live stream we had, and I talked quite a bit about it, so I'm not going to go through all of that again, but I do share, I can't share, what is it? I don't remember the title. Can I do SPAC? No. Oh yeah, this one. So this video I did where I, like 2 months ago, I analyzed a few SPACs that had already merged. Excel Fleet, Luminar, Canoe, Hyliion, and Romeo. And it was kind of analyzing what happens after the merger takes place. And what usually happens is a sell-off after the merger takes place, which is also the reason why I sold a part of my shares, my swing trade, before the merger occurred and a little bit afterwards. So I don't know, I don't have NPA anymore. Thoughts on ACTC merging? That's the Proterra one, holding at $22. Is this also going to go to $10 per share? Yeah, difficult to know, man. Honestly, I don't think so. I don't think so. Now, I can't make that a very definite statement, but I kind of think that this could be a major low, $15.50. I can definitely see this going back to $15.50. Purely based on technical analysis, I believe Proterra is one of the safer plays as well, so I kind of think that 1550 is going to be a low. But yeah, of course, that's not financial advice, but just my opinion. I don't think it's going to go to $10, but that's just my opinion. Thoughts on Fisker? Not really. I haven't really looked a lot in Fisker, actually. The only thing that I can say is technical analysis, and I think the support at $14.50 is very big. Because of this entire price action over here. My voice is cracking almost, so I'm going to almost wrap up. Quick question, do you think A1 is a buy anytime soon? That's the Mark Forged one, right? So, difficult to say. It could definitely go down a little bit more, according to technical analysis. Could definitely see this moving potentially back to $10 per share. I can't remember. I believe they do have a business model, I think. Yeah, they do have a business model, I think. So it could be one of the safer plays. I'm not entirely sure what my valuation was. Let's see, this is AONE. Keep in mind that ARK Invest is investing in this one too, right? So we go to Kathy Woods, kathysark.com, and meanwhile look up A1 over here at $18. And then we go to combined over here, search tickers, A1. They have been accumulating shares in their 3D ETF, I believe. So yeah, they have been accumulating shares. Right now they are not accumulating more shares, but they already have a nice position, I suppose. Or actually, no, it's just a very small position. Okay, I'll take that back. Seems to be a small position, but probably they can go a lot higher because they already own like 10% of the SPAC. So anyways, I could see this going back to $10 per share, but I don't really have a strong opinion about it. How do you feel about Hyliion bottoming? Yeah, that's a good question, because yeah, that's a very good question. Well, a very good question. I mean, I don't know what I think about it. The thing is, I think it's undervalued. I believe it's undervalued. I think the valuation, if you compare it to Nikola, for example, it doesn't make sense. I think it's undervalued. I have a very small position in this, a very small swing trade. I don't know, 0.5% of my portfolio, maybe a little bit more, but not more than 1%, I think. So yeah, I still hold it, but it's mostly because I didn't use technical analysis for this, and this was definitely one of my mistakes. So I'm still like hitting myself in the head because of this was definitely a mistake. I did not listen to technical analysis when technical analysis was saying this is going to go down more. But yeah, I didn't really listen to that. I looked at the valuation and was looking at the valuation saying, well, this is deserving a price of $20. But right now it's sitting at $10.70. So do I have a strong opinion about this? Well, not really. The problem is it looks like the entire belief in Hyliion and Thomas Healy is completely gone for some reason. And it's a little bit sad to see because Nikola is still like 3 times as expensive compared to this company. This has a market cap of 5 billion. Hyliion has a market cap of 1.9 billion. So like 2.5 times as expensive. So it's kind of almost shocking to me that it still is this low, you know? That's a little bit my opinion. So I feel annoyed about it. That's my feeling. What's up, Yella? Do you know the Box token? Nope. They are developing a crypto exchange. Okay, if you have 1,000 tokens on your account, you can trade with 0 transaction costs. Okay. Yeah, makes sense. On Box, on the crypto or on the stock exchange. Okay, that's interesting. I don't know it, but yeah, do I like that? Yeah, I don't know. I don't really like it, honestly. It's like, please buy my coins. Please buy my coins. And if you buy my coins, then I'll give you something in return. I don't know. Be careful with that one too, because that could definitely be considered a security. I'm not sure. That's interesting. Yeah, I'm trying to think what I think about it, but honestly, I don't really know. I kind of don't like it, I think. But I'm not sure. PaySafe, rather flat after merger. Are you still holding it? No, I sold it before the merger occurred, I think. Or on the merger date, something like that. So I usually sell my SPACs when the merger occurred because it usually leads to a sell-off. Actually, what happens to... Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think I sold around, I believe like 1540, something like that, if I'm not mistaken, but I'm not entirely sure. So I did sell my position. BIGG Digital. Wow, holy damn. Okay. It's a nice chart going to the upside. Be careful, I would say. If you want to start a position, now might not be the best time. I would probably wait for a move to the downside. And that's about it. We have lots of divergence between price action and the 55 EMA. RSI is getting hot. It's at 80, over 80. Indicators are quite high. So honestly, could definitely see some downside. What about ACIC? It's merging with Archer, of course. Kathy is buying. Yeah, good price. I did a video about this, right? Yeah, ACIC, I did a target, in my valuation video, I had a target of $18 more or less as a midpoint valuation. So that's my potential target. But keep in mind, this is probably a long-term play because it doesn't really have a product for the next coming years. Thoughts on OMI? No, I actually don't, but I saw a video. I probably need to see that video. Wrapped. I don't know anything about this. But who was it? Was it what do you call him? Andre? Was it Andre? Yeah, he. So maybe check out this video. I'll actually put it on watch later because I'll probably, if you are talking about it, then I probably should listen to that a little bit more. So I'll watch this video too. Pokemon? Does it have to do with Pokemon? So Andre Yik probably has a very good video because all of Andre's videos are awesome. Check that out. I don't know it. DC Comics, Cartoon Network. Yeah, definitely an interesting network. Yeah, for sure. I don't really know my exact opinion about NFTs yet. I think we could, well, it has already sold off a little bit, I suppose, but it is a little bit of a hype, you know? It's a little bit of a hype. I do think that the large majority of NFTs are going down over time in the long term, but some NFTs are definitely going to be good. Probably Beeple's NFTs are probably going to be good. Selling STPK before ticker changes, and then I'm going to load up the boat on this gem when it comes back down. Yeah, well, just keep in mind that, well, it doesn't necessarily go down. It could go down. Maybe it doesn't. ChargePoint, for example, hasn't really gone down that much. It did go down a little bit. Well, it actually did go down quite a bit. But right now, it's still back at that previous level. So yeah, keep in mind it can also stay flat or go up. Maybe sell a part and not everything. What are your expectations of the stock market Monday? No real expectations, honestly. Do I have any expectations? No, not really. Yeah. Do I have any expectations? No. It's a little bit boring, honestly, but I don't really have any expectations. I think so far the stock market looks bullish, so I'd be looking forward to a bullish week. It's 8 o'clock already. What are your thoughts on mobile trading via application versus PC trading platforms? I don't like mobile trading. In general, I don't like being on my mobile phone. Like, oh, I do it for like, what do I use it for? Twitter? TikTok? I'm on TikTok, you know? Instagram a little bit. But apart from that, I prefer to do everything on my PC. I've got 2 screens. I like having these big screens. I do WhatsApp on my screens and not on my mobile phone, so I hate trading on a mobile phone. I never do that. Also keep in mind, there's a higher risk with that. A friend of a friend of mine got hacked. His crypto wallet got hacked because they apparently they kind of controlled his mobile phone. They hacked his mobile phone. They were able to see what kind of things he did on his mobile phone, what kind of like passcodes he was typing in, what kind of like two-factor authentication he was typing in. So they were able to use that information to hack his crypto wallet, and he got stolen. So yeah, I think it's riskier as well. If you have two-factor authentication, I think it's better to have 2FA on your mobile and trade on your PC. Thoughts on Palantir? That's the last one I'm going to do today. Palantir, I think it looks pretty good, especially the technical analysis, and I think we have seen a nice little bottom over here at 22.50 more or less. I think it looks good for a move to the upside. We do have some resistance at $25 more or less, which is where the 55 EMA comes in, but I do kind of think we are going to pierce through that, and we are probably going to go up in the next coming weeks. I'd say above like, I think around like 75% likelihood to upside in the next coming weeks. With regards to the company, I don't really know enough about the company itself to say anything useful about that. Okay, we've done it. 2 hours. 2 hours, but I had fun, honestly. I had fun. I hope you had fun too. I hope you found it useful. Hope I've been able to answer your questions. We did start off at in a weird way with a negative person, but that's fine. Of course, you have negative people all around the world too. Anyways, I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to thank you a lot for your time. I'm going to thank you for even being here on this Sunday. You could also be with your wife on the couch watching Netflix, or you could be doing something else, but instead you chose to spend a little bit of your time with me. So I appreciate that. If you want to hang out with me a little bit more, you can join our Discord for free. You can just go to nesami.com/Discord. Then you're going to find this website over here, this website over here. Then you can leave your name, leave your email address. You're going to be able to click submit. And then you're going to be able to get into our Discord for free. And what else? If you want to know more about my technical analysis course, then you can subscribe to that. You can opt in to learn a little bit more about that. Potentially get a little present if you drop your name as if you drop your email at support@nesami.com/TA, then you can learn a little bit more about that. And I think, with that being said, thank you very much for taking the time to watch this beautiful live stream. I hope you have a beautiful Sunday ahead, a beautiful night if you are in the European zone, or potentially in a more Eastern zone if you are still in the United States. And I hope you're having a great day ahead. And again,